What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we are back ahead of the weekly reset for Destiny 2, and this week we are getting another patch for the game. So, we'll see what Bungie tried to fix and whether it works. There are some reward updates dropping which actually will be beneficial for some players. So we'll cover the changes we know about there, and the return of Iron Banner. Just a heads up, Bungie haven't commented on the drama about the Iron Banner armor yet. Perhaps they will over the weekly reset, we'll just have to wait and see, but there's a reprised weapon, as well as the reprised armor for Iron Banner that's currently planned. We'll talk about some of the perks for the finite impactor, and also interestingly, an update to weapons that we got from Arms Week. So there are actually new skins, I guess, hollow foil variants of Ribbontail and Fenutria Ferra, which are slightly different versions from the originals, which will also be available in Iron Banner this week. But yeah, in some ways, I think there's a lot of anticipation to see whether Bungie have anything to say with regards to recent community drama. I totally agree with the community when we say it's time for a state of the game update. Perhaps we'll get some of those communications this week, but for now, we'll break down everything else we know. So if you're new and you want to keep up to date with more Destiny content, hit subscribe. It'll really help me out on the channel as well. But otherwise, let's get into it. First up, Iron Banner. Like I say, Bungie haven't commented on the armor drama, but Iron Banner is back this week with an event home. That means it does have a reward shop as well as a reward pass, and the cosmetics that come with that, emblem, shader, weapons, and more. There is the reprised Iron Banner set, which comes with new bonuses. We won't go over them again here, but you can see them on screen. And they say along with the new armor, completing Iron Banner matches have a chance to award a returning weapon, which is the finite impactor. But additionally, the Fenutria Ferra and Ribbontail can be earned as post-match rewards. And when we look at them for Ash and Iron, they've actually had an update here, so they get new skins. A new hollow foil variant, and they've got that separate icon on them that Bungie have applied to some of the sort of event content or event rewards, which are actually available across numerous events. So a bit of a change of approach there. I kind of assumed they would be exclusive to Arms Week, but they're actually not. The same applies to the submersion crossbow, which will continue having a very low drop chance while Iron Banner is active this week. But for the finite impactor, of course, it's an adaptive framed solar hand cannon. In terms of traits, the first slot can get Iron Grip, Fragile Focus, Heal Clip, then there's Enlightened Action, Slideways, and Killing Wind, with the second slot able to get Iron Reach, Burning Ambition, Precision Instrument, there's also Rapid Hit, Magnificent Howl, and Moving Target. So let me know any standout combinations. I haven't tried a hand cannon with Burning Ambition. Could be potentially interesting. I know some folks have said, though, they're going to essentially boycott Iron Banner this week over the art drama. Or should I say the armor drama? Man, I've got Bungie stealing art on the brain. So let me know in the comment section if you'll be jumping in. I wouldn't mind a good roll on the hand cannon, but it certainly won't be priority number one for me this week. One of the interesting things will be the update that Bungie are dropping today, though. This is the continuation of We're Listening in regards to the power and rewards component of Destiny 2. So Bungie say they're making changes to Prime Engrams. This will start today, and at all power bands, players have a chance for a Prime Engram to drop per portal activity completion reward. So if you run an activity that's got 3 base completion rewards, that means there are 3 chances for a Prime Engram, which presumably will increase the drop rate of them in general. And Bungie say additionally, from 450 to 500 power, power is increased by up to +3 power, where it was previously +2. I'm not sure if there will additionally be a change in the power band below that, 400 to 450, because that's currently +2. And I think it would be really weird if it's slower to get to 450, but faster from 450 up to 500. But Bungie's communications on the specifics of some of these changes have been a bit sketchy, so we'll just see what we get after the update. There are other portal buffs though, and Bungie say they're removing some modifiers from match-made portal experiences, like Grappler, Hypercritical, Oscillation, and Match Game, and they're creating the more consistent power reward experience for the upper power climbs. So from 500 to 550, if we earn an A or A+ grade, we'll get +1 power on activity completion rewards. And that basically removes the Prime Engram requirement from that last 50 levels. I guess paired up with the Prime drop buff, it'll certainly speed things up if you're at those kind of power levels, but as Bungie said, this is not yet going to affect lower power levels, you know, between 3 and 400 for instance, where the grind will remain pretty much the same. And if anything, these later power levels are getting closer to what something like 3 to 400 will be like. And for those who would say this is still going to be too slow, yeah, I think I generally agree. Bungie should probably add another +2 or 3 to many of the rewards through the majority of the power climb. Otherwise though, they're reducing gameplay penalties when running out of time on Grandmaster difficulty in the portal, so they should essentially be a bit more tolerable. And for players who are 450 power onwards, Platinum or Diamond reward packages, when earning a score of 1.25 million or more, will guarantee tier 5 drops from activity completion rewards. So the wording is that this will make it easier to get tier 5 at above 450 power, and that will actually be previewable in the reward preview screen. Otherwise, they're additionally increasing the timers for Avalon and Presage, Avalon goes to 35 minutes, and Presage goes to 20 minutes. Plus another beneficial thing, I guess, in terms of reward drops, they are increasing the amount of drops for multiple different portal activities that you can see on screen, most of them getting one additional reward from their current reward pool. So that's everything we have absolutely confirmed at the moment. But again, we're going to have to wait and see, because Bungie have put out a handful of patches that have had slightly different changes to things they had announced, or changes being moved around between different patches. It kind of seems like Bungie are playing a game of catch-up. Either way, the game will technically get more rewarding today, but whether that moves the needle enough, we'll just have to wait and see. Keep in mind though, if you're playing during the daytime today, from 8:35 AM PDT, which is around 4:35 PM in the UK, Destiny 2 will be brought offline until weekly reset at 6 PM UK and 10 AM Pacific, so an hour and a half or so of downtime, and then hopefully the patch will drop without too much drama. That's all I got for you guys, outside of the gameplay changes today. Of course, there could be additional things in the patch, and I will keep you posted with the notes when we get them. Again, there's a lot of anticipation for some communication from Bungie, who have been pretty quiet, although they did drop that live update on Friday, I believe last week. So now that the new week has started, I think Bungie can have a day or two, but we certainly need some kind of conversations to start in terms of bigger picture around Destiny right now, so I'm very hopeful they'll do that, although those conversations need to be moving in the right direction, faster than what we've had thus far. There are kind of numerous different layers of Bungie messing up at the moment, let's be realistic about it. Obviously there is the sort of anti-player or anti-community components, that's how players perceive it, right, when Bungie do things like move an armor set from an Iron Banner reward and instead make it an Eververse thing. Clearly there's more of a focus on Eververse, which in some ways isn't a huge problem if you're making the rest of the game rewarding and actually respecting players' time, right? I think that's a big component of player frustration at the moment. It's not all about Bungie's practices with microtransactions. But players will make a comparison between how are Bungie monetizing the game, what kind of tactics are they using to do that, and then how are they actually supporting the rest of the game. And because players aren't happy with Bungie's response to feedback about the portal or the power grind, there's a kind of salt in the wound effect, I suppose, where when Bungie additionally do stuff like this Eververse nonsense, it starts to become incredibly problematic. When I say dragging heels as well, Bungie are aware that the community are not happy with the way that progression is working at the moment. Obviously, there are things that are going to take longer to fix. If you're going to continue to play Destiny 2, I think some of us have to accept that, right? When it's things like the portal, that's not an overnight fix. That won't get better in a week or two. However, with Bungie dropping the live update last week, which improved to a very small extent things like powerful rewards, it demonstrates that Bungie can do more to speed up power progression and to give players more rewards, right? And that's the part where players will identify that Bungie are dragging their heels and insisting that they know best in terms of how the game should actually reward players. Bungie have missed a really big opportunity, for instance, to give a gesture that says, hey, we do care about your feedback. You know, if they'd announced that Iron Banner's coming this week, and what we're going to do is we're going to amp up all of the rewards for it. So all players can earn tier 5 armor, for instance. All players will get tier 5 weapons. And why can't we have things like, this week we're going to double power progression in the game? I'm not saying it would fix all of the problems, but it would at least demonstrate that Bungie are paying attention and that they're willing to do things to actually appease players and to try and make the game more enjoyable. But again, we need those broader communications about where we go from here and how Bungie are going to improve the game as we move towards Renegades. Realistically, the bigger changes are going to come further down the road, and I think some players would be prepared to give Bungie the time to do that and come back in Renegades to see how it all feels. I appreciate other players are very much burnt out and are no longer willing to do that, which you can't really criticize either, so if Bungie want to change the current trajectory that this game is on, they have to start to act in more significant ways. And I think if we don't see any of that in the next week, then things are going to get significantly worse. There's no two ways about it. So that's my 2 cents on it. And I know I've given that opinion many times, but considering that I'm continuing to cover the game and players continue to have these major concerns, that's all I can do, is to try and highlight how players are feeling and apply as much pressure as is actually possible onto Bungie in order to try and move that needle. Otherwise, it's as out of my hands as it would be for anyone else who plays this game. So that's it. If you guys found the video helpful, a rating really does help me out on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with all of the updates. But otherwise, thanks for watching and I hope you guys have an awesome day.